Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. So, we said that what stops us from moving forward is fear, false evidence appearing real. And that's 100% true. What's another way for us to language that might help make distinctions so that it's easier to move forward? Well, when it comes, to break it down into like one nutshell, what we really are always doing as humans is we're trying to avoid pain and to gain pleasure. At the bottom line, we do things that we think are going to bring us pleasure, but we'll do more to avoid pain. When we're making evaluations, and most of the time the evaluation is not conscious, most of the time it's reactionary or it's other than conscious. But even if it's conscious, when we decide what we're doing, we're trying to avoid pain and then we're trying to gain pleasure. And we're trying to avoid pain a lot more than we're trying to gain pleasure. Let's, think about like smoking. Everybody intellectually knows that smoking is horrible for you, that there's like hardly anything that you can do that's worse. It ranks up there with heroin, smoking crack, smoking cocaine, injecting cocaine. I mean, it is that bad for your body, but yet people still smoke. And we tax the living crap out of the cigarettes. I mean, it's now like 10, $15 a pack, but people still do it. Now, some of that is addiction, sure. Some of that is legitimate addiction, but the science behind that says that there's a small percentage that are addicted like you would be addicted to heroin or morphine, but for everybody else it's an addiction like sugar or like exercise, or it's an addiction that can very much be broken, which means it's more of just a habit. So why is it that people still smoke cigarettes when there's all of these things stacked against it? You would think that nobody would do it, is because they don't look at the long-term pain. They look at the short-term pain. They look at the short term of, this is going to be tough for me to quit smoking. I'm going to have to go through some short-term pain, and I don't want to do that right now because I've got all these other things going on. And then I might gain weight, it might end up that I put on a little weight if I do this, so they don't do it. So we will do a lot more to avoid pain than we will to gain pleasure. So how do you get yourself to take action? Because we know that that's what we need to do. When the thing that you want to do, your body is going, this is painful. Well, one of the things you can do is you can start asking yourself better questions. You can start asking yourself questions like, what's going to happen if I don't change? What's going to happen if I don't take this action? If people smoking cigarettes focused on where they're going to end up, the type of death that they're going to meet if they continue smoking. If you die from smoking related illnesses, whether that's emphysema, chronic bronchitis, whatever, what ends up happening is you drowned. That's the death that you're headed for, because eventually your body will not be able to breathe properly. You'll fill up with carbon dioxide, which turns into fluid, and you will drown. That's how my grandmother passed away. If somebody really in their gut focuses on that outcome as opposed to the short-term pain, they look at the long-term pain. Now all of a sudden they're going to get enough leverage to change. So when you're approaching something and you're intellectually, I should take action on this. I should start exercising. I should stop eating chips. I should stop drinking pop, whatever it is. The reason that you don't take that action is the short-term pain. So look at the long-term pain. How am I going to feel in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years if I don't do this? What's it going to be like if I never make this change? How much am I going to regret that if I never make the change? Then flip over to the short-term pleasure. How good would it feel in 3 months if I'd made that change? What difference will it make in my life? Who will be proud of me, and how will I be proud of myself? Let's say the change is that you're going to eat healthy for the rest of your life. And so on the short term, you're like, oh, I gotta give up pop. I got to give up alcohol. I got to give up sweets. I got to give up bread, whatever it is. So in the short term, that's one of the reasons diets don't work very well. But the first three letters are die. Your brain doesn't like that. Your brain's like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to give up something. So we reframe it. We start talking about, I want to gain 20 pounds of lightness. Okay, well, that sounds good. Your brain goes, gain, that's good. So then you look at, look at the long term if I don't take this action, and then look at the short term pleasure. Imagine that I did take this action starting today, and I continued to take this action for the next 3 months, 6 months. So I arrived July 10th, and I've taken this action the entire time. How will I look? How will I feel? How proud will I feel? Imagine people coming up to you and saying, "Oh my God, you look great. How much weight have you lost?" There's no better feeling than when all of a sudden people notice that you're losing weight. How much weight have you lost? You look healthier. You look younger. That's one of the great ones. When all of a sudden you look younger. Start imagining what's it going to feel like when I have this feeling of lightness and of healthiness. So you look at the long-term pain and the short-term pleasure, and now your brain is going, oh, okay, this seems like a good idea, not a bad idea. Remember, where focus goes, energy flows, and when it's time to make a change, a lot of times we're focused on what we don't want. And that's not going to work. That's not going to create the change. We got to focus on what we do want. So instead of focusing on, well, I'm giving up something, or I have to walk away from something, or I have to sacrifice, give up, look at it differently. I'm gaining lightness. I'm gaining health. I'm going to stop digging my grave with my teeth. I'm going to stop drowning myself every time I take a drag off of this cigarette. Look at the long-term financial gain if you stop smoking. I mean, that was one of the things I did when I stopped drinking alcohol, is after a couple of years, I looked at how much money I had saved by not drinking alcohol. I mean, it was a stupid number. So now over 11 and a half years, I'll add that up and just kind of laugh and say, that's why I could afford a sports car, is because I stopped drinking alcohol. The point is, you got to understand how your brain works. And if you're focusing on what you're giving up, your brain's not going to like that, and you're not going to be successful. Focus on the short-term pain, long-term pain, then focus on the short-term good. How good am I going to feel in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 6 months if I've made this change? It's a hockey season, 6 months. How great will I feel at the end of the hockey season if all of a sudden I've done all these changes and I arrive this June feeling this way because I'd gained this lightness and I'd eaten this way and I'd exercised? How proud of myself will I be? How proud will those that I care about be of me? And how will that make me feel? And then really feel those feelings. And the next thing you know, it's going to be effortless in terms of making those changes. Good morning, everybody. Uncle Bill, great to see you. Valerie, good morning. Time to punch the clock, as you said. And Ann, thank you so much for watching. We're all in this together. Let's take care of each other.